from a man assaulting his ex-girlfriend and lover out of bitterness.
I absolutely do, sir. Regardless of how I feel or what happened, I know what I did. No one deserves to be hurt the way that things went down. I would never want to harm another person.
To another facing charges for violating his bond conditions.
That was a condition of your bond. Is you just can't disappear. If you're on bond, you have conditions of bond.
Here are 5 moments where Judge Boyd ensures offenders are held accountable without taking weak excuses. Starting with Mr. Sanchez, here we have a man who assaulted his ex-girlfriend and her new lover in a fit of rage, and it's outrageous how he tried to justify his violent actions with excuses about his mental state. Let's see how Judge handles this.
All right, court is calling 2024 CR 008247, State of Texas versus Omero Sanchez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ashley Jones for the state.
Defense?
David McLean for the defense.
All right, and are you Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea on December 2nd to the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. The state is silent on your application, and they're silent on, they're just silent on your application. There's a $1,000 fine. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state, defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
Not for the defense.
And have both parties had a chance to review the MIC evaluation? Was that completed?
I don't believe in make evaluation. I didn't see one, Judge.
I did not see it.
All right, that was ordered.
Sorry, Judge, can you give me the case number?
It's 2024 CR 008247.
That's the mid-tracking evaluation was the top evaluation and the PSI.
All right, and what are the results from the MIC evaluation?
I'll be first.
All right, thank you. After you all have finished reviewing that, just let the court know. All right, any objections to the MIC evaluation, state or defense?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right, defense, do you have any witnesses?
Other than my client, no.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Omero Sanchez.
All right, defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sanchez, you had a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation with me, correct? Okay. And the information that was contained there that the court now has available to them, that was all true and correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the night that this happened, can you tell the court where you were mentally?
I was, I had a, guess it was one of the first times I've had this, a sinking feeling in my chest, a flashback. The night before that, I was in Hondo. I was a Starbucks store manager. I was helping my district manager to open a store then. And because I was a veteran, they sent me down to the VFW. And while I was at the VFW, remember the last thing we did was we presented arms to the flag. And as soon as I rendered a salute, without even thinking about it, my heart just sank. And I felt sick to my stomach. And I was back on Disney Drive back in Afghanistan. And that's the road that we would send off our soldiers, airmen, Marines. I felt very sick, very sick. The very next day, the day of the incident, I talked to my district manager, George Martinez, and I told him everything and actually cried with him. I hadn't cried in, can't remember. So I wasn't in a, to answer your question, I wasn't in a good state of mind. I didn't feel well. I did end up, and then the incident happened the night where I found my mother of my children, my ex-girlfriend, with the victim, Mr. Quintanilla. And then that's, I think, what pretty much broke the rest of me mentally.
Okay.
That's definitely not who I am, but to answer your question.
And with the events that were delineated as to how that happened, that's contained in that pre-sentence investigation report that you gave, that description was accurate and truthful?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you accept responsibility for what happened that night?
I absolutely do, sir. Regardless of how I feel or what happened, I know what I did. No one deserves to be hurt the way that things went down. I would never want to harm another person. hope one day that Mr. Quintanilla can forgive me. I am truly, truly sorry. It's not a good feeling to have. And I hope that I just would like to pay my debt back to this community.
You ever been in trouble with the law before?
I never even as much as a parking ticket. I've always considered myself a productive member of society, a law-abiding citizen. 14 years in the Air Force. I was a military instructor here at Lackland. I've always volunteered for food bank, always been a part of this community. In that regard, it's just that's not who I am, but I do take responsibility for that.
If there is restitution that's owed, is that something you're willing to pay to Mr. Quintanilla?
Absolutely, whatever the state feels is right to make this right. I'll do whatever.
You've asked this court for deferred adjudication.
Yes, sir.
You understand deferred adjudication is a kind of probation that if you complete it successfully, your case will be dismissed.
Yes, sir.
You also understand that while you're on probation, if you violate any terms of that the state can file a motion to enter adjudication of guilt, issue a warrant, go back to jail, find out, not. At some point, you're going to come back and you're going to face the same judge. And at that point, the only decision she's going to have to make is whether to enter the plea you've already given her. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And if she decides to enter that plea, she has the full range of punishment up to her.
Yes, sir.
And we've discussed what that range of punishment is, from 2 years up to 20 years in prison.
Yes, sir.
And while you're on probation, is that something you're going to consider every waking moment of your life while you're on probation?
Absolutely.
20 years and $10,000 if you violate your probation.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell this court?
I would just like to reiterate that I would like an opportunity to make this right. I know I've changed a lot of people's lives. 3 of us. Like I said, I am deeply troubled and sorry for the actions that happened that night. It was a very complicated night. It's not a representation of who I am, the person that I was before this case. I would also, on a personal level, I would cherish the opportunity to be able to provide for my children again. That would mean the world to me. But at the same time, I do acknowledge that what happened. So if it's prison, then fine, I'll pay my due that way. If it's deferred education, then I would really cherish that opportunity. And I know I'll be successful. There's no doubt in my mind. But like I said, I understand the situations. I've also been taking a lot of classes while I'm here in jail. I wanted to run certificates, but it's helping a lot with my mental health.
What classes did you take?
I took anger management. I took MRT, moral recognition therapy. Took paint, art class, and then PTSD class with Ms. Alma.
Do you currently have a diagnosis with PTSD?
I guess through Ms. Alma, but they want me to, if I do get a chance to get out, they've already kind of made some calls to go get me set up with the VA, get them my benefits. I've never filed for them. So.
Okay. And you do have benefits available through the Veterans Administration?
Yeah, they told me basically I'll get 100%. The whole thing. I never wanted to deal with the military.
State,
No questions, Judge.
I have a few questions if there are no
I
objections.
have no objection to it.
All right, so what was the argument about?
The mother of my children, Ms. Galvan, she was, I caught her cheating.
Well, I mean, it states in the stipulations that she hadn't dated you for years.
No, man, we were together for 6 years. We had 2 kids together. We were on a lease at Pecan Springs apartment in Chios. We were living together. I had no idea this was going on. I actually went to her for help because I was feeling really sick that night. And I just happened to, no, I mean.
No, I read that you all hadn't been dating for a while. Did I read incorrectly?
No, we were together for all the
Counsel?
way up till April of this year.
My understanding was that was kind of her statement, but I think from my client's perspective, they were living together still.
I had no idea that was going on.
All right, so it says in the stipulations that you came over to the home, correct?
No, ma'am, this is in a parking lot. I went to, because I was feeling sick, so I was trying to find her, someone to talk to her about the incident I had. Because she went with me to the veteran event the night before. I took her and the kids. And then so the following day, because she worked late, she worked at Walmart. And I basically found them in the parking lot. So, but yeah, we were together. I mean, there was no question about that.
Oh,
Absolutely
all
no
right.
question about
So that was me not interpreting this correctly. So it says that victim 2 advised that she was assaulted by her boyfriend of 4 years, which is you. Victim 2 also advised that she had been in a relationship with victim 1 for the last couple of months. So you go to the parking lot and you realize that she's been cheating on you.
that. Yes, ma'am.
All right. What do you mean you caught them?
They were kissing and. So,
All right. Why were you at that parking lot? Is it the parking lot of the apartment complex?
no, it was a business next to their work. They used to work together.
Okay. So they used to work together.
I don't know if they still do, but they work together.
All right. So you went to her place of employment to talk about your issues?
Yes, because I talked to her previously around lunchtime. That I left work early, got the kids from daycare. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist.
All right. So then you leave the location because it says that you started striking her and you shoved her into the vehicle. This is just in the stipulations. And she states that during the altercation, the person that she's with took out his firearm and pointed it at you, demanding that you leave. And then it states that, I'm just going to say her boyfriend states that then you walk away and you get into your vehicle. And then you make a U-turn and you accelerate towards her other boyfriend and towards her. And then you collide with her, with the vehicle. Then you exit your vehicle, start striking her boyfriend several times while the boyfriend is laying on the parking lot. And then you fled the location. Is that about right, sir?
Not to my account.
Okay, what is your account?
Brought them in the parking lot. And this is where I lost control. I normally wouldn't do that. So I went at them. The thing that I remember is he struck me in my neck and then I started fighting with him. He ran away, pulled out his concealed weapon behind his back. That part is what I lost all thought, because the last time someone pointed a gun at me was in Afghanistan. And I hate guns. I don't do guns. I can't stand guns. I have a real problem with guns. I got back into my car. I couldn't exit the parking lot without going back that way because there was only one exit. So that's why I did that. But the whole time I was just thinking about the gun. I hit him with the vehicle. I didn't run him over or anything. He fell to the side, and then I got out trying to find the weapon. I wanted to control that weapon. Yes, I did strike him. Even though we're fighting, I was still afraid that he was gonna shoot me with the weapon. At that point, I had lost control of most of what I was thinking. I was more in like just disable the threat.
Okay.
And then she remember her coming up behind me afterwards and grabbing me by the neck, and that's where I shoved her back. I shouted some threats at her, and then a bystander came by, and that's when I kind of snapped out of it. And so he had 2 kids with him, and that's when she had the gun towards the end, and then that's when I left the scene. I just didn't know.
All right. Thank you for explaining that and clearing that up for me. Any other questions?
No, Judge.
Any other questions?
Just wanted for clarification, when you were driving your vehicle toward him, was he pointing the gun at you?
I don't remember, but in my head, he had the gun, and that's all I was thinking about.
There.
All right. Well, isn't the complainant here, Mr. Quintanilla?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. If anybody wants to ask him whether or not he was pointing a gun at him,
The state will stick by the stipulations.
the
Good,
complainant is here.
I don't have any reason to question.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
That has cleared up some things for the court. So what does the complainant want? Because I see that the girlfriend that you all are fighting over is not here and hasn't given anything. Is the girlfriend here?
She's here.
Oh, they're sitting separately. Are they no longer together?
No, they're together.
My understanding is they are, but we have them separate for he's the one giving the victim impact statement.
Oh, okay. Is there anything either one of them would like to say? Or do they, I mean, what would they want to see happen in this case?
He just wanted.
Sure.
Judge, I would kind of object to that because the state was remaining silent.
Well, let me just tell you, it's probably for your benefit.
Understood. Thank you, Judge.
And to the complainant, just know if I were to give him probation, he is going to be on GPS and there would be no contact.
I will say that the state is going to remain silent, but so I have the information. I just they're remaining silent.
Okay.
So I don't. I thought I heard to him like 2 months.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's no objections. Then our the victim would like prison time, and the girlfriend Vivian, who is not a stress victim, said that she just wants what's fair.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to do what I believe is fair in this case. And I'm assuming he has no criminal history.
Nice.
And were you dishonorably discharged from the military? I'm sorry?
It was
Honorably?
I had a great career.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. There's $1,000 fine. That will be probated. Is there any restitution?
Not necessarily.
All right. The state is asking for an affirmative finding of family violence. I'm assuming there are no objections to that finding.
No, you're right.
All right, there's an affirmative finding of family violence. There should be no contact with Anselmo, Anslmo, Quintanilla, or Vivian Galvan. If you want to have visitation with your children, that needs to be done through a third party, you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you employed?
None at the moment.
All right, there's going to be partial GPS for employment. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. There's going to be anger management. Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. And I'm going to order that you receive mental health treatment through the VA.
Yes.
So probation, it'll be mental health treatment through the VA. And the partial GPS will be until further notice. And I'll ask that GPS fees are waived.
Thank you, Judge.
Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much for the question.
You're welcome. And also, I'm sorry, it's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it inside?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because this is plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, we can go off the record. So in this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. If there's an issue, you need to let the probation officer know. If you feel as though they're not addressing the issue, then you can always come back to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. Would I be able to speak to you or?
Oh, just 1 second. I'm so sorry. Also, probation, it's 150 hours of community service restitution. And I'm going to order parenting classes. Once you complete that, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied.
Thank you.
And you were asking?
If I have questions, I could speak to somebody in here.
You speak to your probation officer. There's a probation officer here. That probation officer will go over conditions with you, but she is not going to be your regular probation officer. That will be a different probation officer. If you have issues or you need help with something, let them know. If you feel as though they're not addressing it, you can come back to the court and address it with me. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. In this court, make sure you communicate.
Yes, ma'am.
And if for any reason a motion to revoke is filed, if it's in proper order, I'm going to sign it. And then you're looking at potentially 20 years at the prison. You understand?
I understand.
All right. Thank you. You say there's a victim impact?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. If you'll step over there.
While Mr. Sanchez faced charges for his reckless and violent actions, here's Mr. Harris facing felony charges for taking a vehicle without the owner's permission.
Court is calling 2024 CR 009988, State of Texas versus Joseph Joshua Harris. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris Salem.
Defense.
Nathaniel Navy, Judge.
And are you Mr. Harris?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all discovery?
Yes, Judge, I believe
Did
I
you
have.
review it with your client?
Yes.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Harris, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Judge, we do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harris, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle as a state jail felony? Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses? The state will call in the right to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor, he has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, I do, Judge.
Mr. Harris, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state is recommending deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
State,
Yes, Your Honor.
defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver repeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. There be no contact with Ricardo Valera, Valera, and you are not allowed to operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state?
Yes, ma'am.
And the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Contained in Exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
No objection.
State you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. Okay, after reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We would like to today, Judge. if
Anything you
possible.
wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, just that he's a very young man. He's 18 years old right now. He does have a 1-year-old daughter. He does have a plan for what he'd like to do with the rest of his life. He explained it to me. He's actively completing his GED right now. He'd like to do underwater welding, which I thought was interesting, but apparently is a pathway to a good paying career. So he does have a plan of what he'd like to do. Obviously, this is a big wake-up call to him. And I believe that if you give him the opportunity to put him on deferred adjudication, that he will hopefully complete that and put this behind him, Judge.
All right. And what is happening with the other case he has?
You're talking about which one, Judge?
The one where he was on an ankle monitor until October 9th, 2023, when it was removed?
He's on an ankle monitor currently, so I guess.
Well, no, this is from another case
Okay. Is that still in Bear
with
County?
with Officer Castro. Do you remember Officer Castro?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you remove that GPS?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why would you do that?
I just wasn't thinking, and I
Like you had other things you wanted to do with your life.
didn't understand until I was 17 the consequences, like the severe consequences of my actions. I didn't know that it would.
See, I'm trying to get into the mind of young people. I don't understand why people don't understand the consequences of taking items that don't belong to you. What do you think is going to happen if you take something that doesn't belong to you?
I would go to jail.
So, I mean, I don't understand that. You're 18, and I will tell you, here in Texas, plenty of times people have taken people's vehicles while they're asleep, and they see on the camera that somebody's taking their vehicle, and they end up getting shot. And you know what people say? People start protesting, some do, and they say, oh my gosh, that was just a little child. And you know what other people say? Shouldn't have been stealing somebody else's property. And they're just like, oh, well, I can tell you this. Nobody is probably going to be bringing charges saying, let's prosecute the person that shot this person for stealing their vehicle. Not going to happen. And then you're 18 and you're working on your GED.
Yes, ma'am. And I have a job right now.
Mhm.
I have a job for 4 months now.
Mhm.
Perfect attendance. And
Doing
taking
what?
care of my daughter. I work at a cabinet shop.
Okay.
I make cabinets.
All right. I don't understand. Young people not graduated from school. They're just out having children. So does your child live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And who else lives in the home with you?
I live with my girlfriend and my girlfriend's dad and my daughter.
Your girlfriend's father and who else?
My daughter.
And your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And see, young people have children and then their parents just allow them, everybody come in and move in. And then people think that's normal to have children when you're not prepared to provide shelter for that child or clothing. Somebody else is going to be doing that. All right. Do you have your driver's license?
No, ma'am.
Then you cannot drive.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you get to work?
I Uber at the moment.
All right. What's wrong with Via? Does Uber cost? I think Uber probably costs more than the Via bus.
Yeah. Around where I live in Selma, there's no Via bus stations. Like no bus stops or nothing.
Come on, America. Can we get some great transportation? You know, I travel all over to different countries. Their transportation is top notch. You can get on it and go wherever.
Yeah.
That's something you should be writing your city council, writing your legislature about, saying why. You know, people say Texas is the best state in the world and the best state in the country. And the United States is the best country in the world. Can we get our transportation in order?
Well, and even if you could take via bus, it usually takes so much longer than just a car ride. So,
Well, you know what I would tell everybody? I used to take the Via bus.
Early.
And yes, I did. So I would end up at the courthouse. And you know what time I would end up getting at the courthouse?
Early
7 a.m. And I did it because I needed to work to feed myself.
responsibility.
I didn't want to pick up the phone calling, Mom, can you pay for my groceries this week? Although she did. I will tell you, everybody has to start somewhere. And I believe in that because my mom would pay my rent. She would give me money for groceries. And this is me with, all right, there's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs. Probation, see if you can allow him to see if you can allow him to report by Zoom since he has the child that's a newborn and he's working and he's trying to get his welder's license. There's to be regular random UAs. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
I'm gonna test positive for marijuana.
When's the last time you used?
About 2 weeks ago, Your Honor.
Why you use it and you know you have to come to court? See, these are things that you're not thinking about as an adult. And you know what else? Your child does not want to smell marijuana on you. And then you have your your girlfriend's or fiance's father allowing you to live in their house and you're not doing right. So we're going to do regular UAs, tests for levels. Those levels had better start going down, and no marijuana use. You're not allowed to use marijuana while you're on probation.
Yes, Your
It's
Honor.
against the rules of probation. You're not allowed to drink alcohol while you're on probation. It's against the rules of probation. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So regular UAs, tests for levels, field visits 1 time per month until a negative UA. There's to be no driving without valid license. There's going to be 200 hours of community service restitution. 50 of, I'm going to order that you get your GED.
Yes,
50 of those hours will be deemed satisfied once you obtain your GED.
Yes.
The other 150 hours, you can do those hours, or either you can better yourself. If you obtain your welder's license, then I will deem the 150 hours satisfied. And there's to be no contact with Ricardo Valera, proof of employment within 30 days, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. And I'm going to order parenting classes. Probation, anything else?
Judge, would you please repeat the 200 hours of community service, waive 50 upon completion, GED, and then waive 150?
Yes, if he obtains his welder's license.
Thank you, Judge. Nothing else.
All right, is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. Probation, very important. There are consequences. If you don't report, if you don't follow it through on your conditions, they're going to end up submitting to me a request that your probation be revoked. If it's in order, I'm going to sign it. And then the police are going to come and pick you up wherever you may be, because there's going to be a warrant for your arrest. Then you're going to be taken to the jail. Either you're going to make bond or not. If you don't make bond, you're going to be like them. You're going to come over in orange, and then I'll make a decision on whether or not you should be revoked or not. From here on out, everything that you do, you need to ask yourself these questions. What I'm doing, is this something that could result in me being revoked and potentially going to the state jail facility for 2 years? If the answer is no, don't do it.
Yes, ma'am.
If the answer is maybe, don't do it. Because I will tell you, state jail facility, unless it's overcrowded, if you get 2 years, you do 2 years. And that will be 2 years where your child, when you come out, your child will not recognize you. And somebody else may be raising your child. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you need anything, let probation know. If you feel as they're not addressing it, you can always come back to the court. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So is he on GPS now?
He is, Judge.
What do y'all want to do with that? Y'all still want him on GPS?
Well, no, Judge. It was not part of the plea bargain agreement. I would humbly request that it be taken off, and as long as he's complying with all conditions of his probation, that it remain off.
State, what are your thoughts on GPS removal?
Had any violation reports lately?
I haven't seen them. Have there been any violation reports?
Judge, that wouldn't be through probation.
Could y'all check to see?
I'll
if
check
there-
right out, Judge.
Have there been any violation reports on you?
No, ma'am.
All right. If there have not been any violation reports, then,
Finding the GPS on it.
okay, we will see what it says.
You have the excuse in the bench?
Yes.
No, Judge, I don't have any violation reports from pretrial.
All right, the court will order a removal of GPS. Is there anything else you need? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Unlike in Mr. Harris's case, this time we have Mr. Contreras facing charges for his audacity to evade arrest, and to make matters worse, he also chose to violate his bond conditions.
The court is calling 2024 CR 012263, State versus Miguel Contreras Jr. Can I have parties announced for the state
Andrew Harris Edelman.
defense?
Amir Mamori.
And are you Mr. Contreras?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Contreras, do you have any objections to your counsel appearing
No,
by
ma'am.
Zoom?
No, ma'am.
All right. State, any objections to the defense counsel appearing by Zoom?
No objection, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all discovery?
I have, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Contreras, did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, waiving the repeat offender enhancement allegation.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Mr. Contreras, did you review court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with evading arrest detention with a previous conviction? That is a state jail felony.
Yes.
Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
No. Yes, excuse me.
Okay, no problem. Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility
Yes.
and up to a $10,000 fine? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Contreras, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Hmm.
According to the plea, the state recommends deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea? Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor, with one caveat, there are 2 misdemeanor cases that the state will take into consideration that I failed to note on the bargain page.
Any objections to the court writing those numbers in, defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and which case numbers are you taking in consideration? Would it be the resisting arrest, search of transportation, and failure to identify?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right,
2024 PF 13390, 2024 PF 26344.
all right, so how they have it listed on the docket sheet?
Has 2024 CC 740762 and 2025 CC 000160, Your Honor.
Yes, so are
Yes, Your
those correct numbers?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the state will be taking in consideration 2024 CC 740762, which is a resisting arrest, search, or transportation, and 2025 CC 000160, which is a failure to identify. Did you understand that to be the plea, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. Did you understand that's a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow that recommendation? Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Containing Exhibit 1 and attachments, Your Honor.
Any
No
objection?
objections. No
State, you may
objection.
be excused. Did you review the waiving consent with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand? The court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, state, there's a page 2 of the police report is missing. Mr. Memori, do you have any objection to the state amending the waiver to include page 2 of the police report?
No, Your Honor.
All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Do you wish to proceed with sentencing, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
That we respectfully ask the court to follow the agreement between the state and defense.
All right, do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
They were born 2006, 8, 10, and 12.
I'm sorry, what?
2008, 6, 10, and 12.
Okay.
6, 8, 10, and 12.
Okay, sorry.
Every 2 years.
All right, and do they live with you?
No,
When's the last time you've seen them?
it's been about 5 years.
Why so long?
I was in prison. Ever since then, I haven't seen them since.
All right, how far did you go in school?
I was graduated high school and went to the Marine Corps when I got out.
And how did you went to the Marine Corps? Was that was that an honorable
I
discharge?
got a bad conduct discharge.
I'm sorry?
A bad conduct discharge.
All right. So how did you go from being in the Marines to being here?
Long
What
story.
happened?
There was a grand larceny case that I didn't report, and I ended up going to the brig for it. And then between then to me getting out of the brig, I had 8 charges stacked on me. I was facing 33 years. They lowered it down to accessory after the fact and failed to report grand larceny, conspiracy, whatever.
So when you were released from the brig and when you're out of the military, how do you keep picking up cases here? What's going on with you? Is there a mental health issue? Is there a drug issue?
Homeless. I really don't have a place to stay at the moment.
Well, the problem is once there are some issues, I don't know if the military or if there are any issues available for you because of the way you were released from the military. We can have somebody come down and see. But Sean, can you see if Herman is able to come down and just to talk to him? You're not going to qualify for a Veterans Treatment Court or anything of that nature because it's not an honorable discharge from the military. So what are you planning on doing with the rest of your life?
I'm not sure yet.
Do you have something for me?
Yes, Mrs. Your Honor, may I
Yes.
vote?
Yes. Well, I mean, how old are you?
I'm 40.
All right, you have to come up with some ideas. Otherwise, we're going to see you back here.
I understand.
So has there been any type of drug use with you?
I smoke
What do you smoke?
some meth sometimes and some marijuana,
All right, you say crystal meth and what?
cigarettes.
You say crystal meth, cigarettes, and marijuana?
Yes, ma'am.
When's the last time you smoked crystal meth?
Before I got arrested, not too long.
Mhm.
But I don't do it. I don't want to say I'm not addicted, but I don't.
Well, how often were you smoking?
I'm sorry.
How often were you smoking meth?
Maybe like twice a week,
Okay,
at least, maybe.
all right. So this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to follow your agreement, 4 years deferred adjudication. Counsel, I don't want him to be unsuccessful on this, so I'm going to do a TAP evaluation and do it in custody. It shouldn't take that long for the TAP evaluation to be completed, and we'll follow TAP recommendations.
Your Honor,
Yes.
may I present to Mr. Contreras copies of these?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's going to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, proof of employment within 35 days of release, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, 200 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to require parenting classes. Once he completes that, then 100 hours will be deemed satisfied of the community service restitution. The other 100 hours will be deemed satisfied if you complete some type of trade school or something to better yourself. You understand?
Mhm.
Or if you go to college. Field visits 1 time per month.
What's a field visit?
Oh, they're going to come out and visit you at your
Okay.
home, probation. And that's going to be until further notice. Taking consideration 2024 CC 740762, 2025 CC 000160. Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. We got the record, sir. In this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. Make sure that you stay in touch with probation. If you feel that there's an issue they're not addressing, you can always come back to the court. Do you understand? The other thing, if there's a sidewalk that is provided, you must walk on the sidewalk. If you are not walking on the sidewalk, the police can stop you. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
Now, Judge Boyd is faced with another violation of bonds case. Here we have Mr. Phillips giving excuses for his repeated failure to report. Let's watch this.
Hello, Mr. Phillips. How are you doing?
Awesome.
All right. So here's the thing. You are on bond and they gave you a PR bond, and that's through pretrial services. So you must contact them. If you don't contact them, what ends up happening is I get a violation report, right? And I have it set. And when you don't show up, then only one or two things are probably going to end up happening. Either there's going to be a judge's warrant issue or maybe a bond forfeiture issue. Do you have the information for your pretrial services officer?
Yes, I do.
All right, so you're going to need to call her and you're going to need to call her today. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So State, do you have any objection to the court recalling the judge's warrant?
No, Your Honor.
And the only reason why that happened because I just felt they would send me a link saying, hey, call on this day. And I became back homeless and I had no phone. So I was keeping up with, with the calling and checking in.
All right, just 1 second. Norma, can you have the pretrial services officer zoom in? It's Claudio Trevino. Sure. They're going to have them zoom in. And Deputy Laura, on his case, I'm going to recall the judge's warrant, but before you leave, we're going to have them zoom in. So they'll have your contact information and you'll know where you need to be. Okay.
Okay. And I can give them my new address.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a place to stay now?
I still stay in my car because of my diagnosis. I'm schizophrenic, bipolar, PTSD, and like 2 other things that I can't pronounce. Okay. So I take a shot for my schizophrenia that I'm supposed to say today. So I stay in my car because I tend to cause issues with 2 or 3 or more people.
All right, let's do this.
In the house.
Not to step on your toes, but Norman, can you have Renee Munoz come over? He could probably, he has some contact. Oh, Renee, if you could come forward, please.
Like I've been waiting on housing for 3.5 years.
Okay. So this seems to me like this is what the community court would be for. He's homeless. He's living in his vehicle. There are mental health issues. So all of those need to be addressed. He's charged with a drug case. Who knows when the labs are going to be in? It's somewhere out in the universe. So if we could perhaps see about the community court and state, if you're willing to look in that as well to see if that you all deem that to be appropriate for him, so that we can make sure that he has a place to stay and make sure the mental health issues are addressed. The fact that he's taking shots tells me there are issues with his reporting or either.
My mind is short-term and long-term memory, but I was reporting it was good, but I still had issues. It's just that and it's in and out. It's like that, I can't stop it. I try to stop it. I try to work on it, but it's something I have to deal with for the rest of my life. I lost best friend because I couldn't understand the symptoms that I had.
Well, don't worry. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try to work on things, right? So I don't want to have you get a warrant and maybe you shouldn't have a warrant. So I'm going to recall the warrant, but the key is we're trying to figure out housing for you and trying to figure out making sure that you have a case manager. Because if you had a case manager, your case manager would be able to help you with your memory or at least help stay on top of these appointments you have to make. Ma'am. Because the problem is it's a drug case and it's a criminal case. And pretrial services want to be able to get in touch with you. And when they can't, that's when they send me the violation report. And I can tell you before I issue a warrant for any violation reports, I'll email the pretrial services officer to see if they've tried one last time to get in touch with the person and if they've been able to get in touch. So if you all could see about community court for him and see about the Center for Healthcare Services, I'm going to recall the warrant.
That's where I go to a Center for the East Side Clinic.
Okay.
And
then also, I think the community court will also be able to help you with bus passes if that's an issue. I know you say you live in your car.
Because sometimes I walk to places, or because it's easier than driving, because sometimes I have wrecks or benders. So I walk or I catch the bus.
All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna reschedule you back. And Norma, were you able to get the email out?
I'm trying to get a hold of the officer and he's not answering.
All right, can you send it to the supervisor that's listed? I'm gonna reset this and I'm gonna reset this just so I can make sure that you're on top of everything. So Norma, we'll recall this. Are you all okay for recalling this? Do you think you have something by the end of February as far as community?
I know that Judge Vada next door facilitates that, Judge, so I don't have an issue going this afternoon and getting Mr. Callahan the necessary contact information to at least start the process or,
I'll do it.
Okay, so do you all want to put it at the end of February?
Say again,
You all want to put it at the end of February or you think sooner?
2090, Your Honor.
Okay, that would be good to set it in 2090, but so I can bring it back whenever you all want it brought back, just not 2090.
May I see if we get enrolled in that court and then come back and personally report to you?
All right, if y'all want to go over there now then, because I want to make sure he has a sheet of paper in his hand, so he'll at least have that for his date.
Yes, Your Honor. Would you like us to find out more information and reapproach to see
Yes.
about a date? Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, awesome.
Do you have a thing where it sends back phone?
Oh, we're gonna see what we can do, okay? All right, so just let me know when you all are ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Phillips.
Just like in Mr. Phillips's case, this last case centers on Mr. Smith facing charges for violation of his bond conditions.
I figured that way.
Hello, what is your name, sir?
Kenneth Smith?
Yes.
Step up.
Go ahead.
My name is Smith. Yes. What's your middle name?
Deshaun?
It may be they may have filed it under Deshaun. And counsel, which case are you seeking the bond for? Is that the 12136?
Let me pull it up, Your Honor. There was a violation report that was submitted, and this was set for a hearing on the violation report. And
Okay.
I was gonna request that he be continued. He does have a residence where he's able to reside. It would be on, yes, the 12136.
She says it's a violation report. I have it. Thank you. All right, so it shows that he has the violation report, but what is I don't understand why he's in custody because it doesn't show that the PR bond was revoked.
No, but on his under misdemeanors in County Court 9, I believe his bond was revoked in those cases, and there was a new bond amount that was issued, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so do you know why he's not reporting? They say he was discharged from the program for not reporting.
His phone wasn't working for a while. I also know that he was no longer homeless. He had found a residence. He had given his address to, I believe, pretrial and the program at Haven for Hope. But I believe that's when his phone stopped working, and he was subsequently picked up on the violation report in County Court 9.
All right.
But he does have a residence that he can go to, Your Honor.
All right, have you conferred with the state on the underlying case? Have you conferred with them on this possession less than a gram?
I have conferred with them, and they have submitted an offer, but I would like to review the evidence some more with my client prior to advising him on any kind of plea.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on this case? Yes. We're going to recall this for the week of January 27th. What date? How old are you?
20.
All right.
I can do the 30th.
All right, we're going to recall this case for January 30th. And then with regards to this violation report, this isn't on the record.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to report to pretrial services, period. That was a condition of your bond. It's not a condition that I set. It's a condition that another judge set. You just can't disappear. If you're on bond, you have conditions of bond. Do you understand?
I do.
So what I'm going to tell you is,
Harris?
and they're saying that you need to comply with the special needs conditions of Center for Healthcare Services. Have you made contact with them? Did you ever make contact with them?
I was trying to.
Well, I mean, Center for Healthcare Services is pretty, pick up the phone and call.
I didn't know the number or anything like that. My phone just stopped working.
Have you ever had treatment before? Have you ever seen a psychiatrist before? All right. This is what's going to end up happening. Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Just one moment. Thank you, Norma. Okay, counsel, I'm going to allow him to be released. You're going to need to report for Center for Healthcare Services, and you are going to need to get in touch with pretrial services upon your release. They're probably going to release you at midnight, but when they release you, the very first business day during business hours, you need to contact them. Do you understand? So Norma, I'm gonna put on here, and your attorney will give you a copy of this, that you need to report to pretrial services no later than Friday, the 24th.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Your
And
Honor.
also, Norma, if you'll give him a reset form for January 30th.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can it be included that he's allowed to live at his residence and not at Haven for Hope? It's my understanding that that was a confusion.
Who is at the residence with you?
My family.
All right. Are there any children in the household?
No.
All right. All right, Deputy Laura, can you give him a sheet of paper? And I want you to write down your address on that sheet of paper that Deputy Laura is going to give you, and I'll include that in the order. And Norma, if you'll give him a reset.
Yes, ma'am. I have it right here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Is there anything else, counsel?
No, nothing further from me. May I be excused?
Yes, you may be excused.
Thank you.